there's certainly a certain amount of money that I would use. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice place to visit.
Yeah. Okay. So where did we leave off? Where did we leave? Oh, we left off on Aleph, right?
No.
Yeah. You just want to
Yeah.
lines get wide.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. First white line. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah,
tonight,
that's right.
Tonight we have a lot of also a lot of major Gemaras. But the main Gemara is really in Sanhedrin. So the main sugi is in Sanhedrin, right? But okay, we'll see. So B'masnisa Tana, so we were discussing Niviim first. So the first white line. So B'masnisa Tana, yeah, Tesvav and Aleph, first white line, everybody has it? Yeah, so B'masnisa Tana, Kol Shemaisa, V'maisa Avos of Stumen, any Navi, and really it doesn't mean Navi, it means anybody in the Chumash or the Tanakh, whose Maisim and the Maisa Avos of are Stumen, meaning it doesn't say it beferish, and one of the psukim calls them out for being good. Going Dvar Hashem Asher Hoya al Tzfanya ben Kushi ben Gedalia, right? That it was the Dvar Hashem that came to Tzfanya from Kushi from Gedalia, right? So it's saying that there was a shvach to Tzfanya that he heard. He was a Navi from Hashem, and he received Navias from Hashem. But you do a shu tzadik ben tzadik, then we know that he's a tzadik ben tzadik. But if the pasuk calls you out for gnai, kegoin v'hi b'chodesh hashvi bo Yishmael ben Nesanya ben Elishama. Right, it was in the 7th month that Yishmael, the son of Nesanya, the son of Elishama, and he's the one that killed Gedalia, right, which made son Gedalia. Yeah, so that's obviously a bad thing. But you do a shu Rasha ben Rasha, then we know that he not only is he a Rasha, but his father's also a Rasha. Fine. So now we have a Machlokes who Malachi was. Malachi is one of the niviim, right? So Amar Rav Nachman, Malachi is Mordechai. The reason why they called him Malachi is because he was the second in command for the king. So that's where the word Malachi is coming from. So the first shot, according to Rav Nachman, is that Malachi is really Mordechai. Meisvei, right, which would be interesting because then Malachi is a sefer, right? Malachi is a sefer in what do you call it? In the Trei Asar. It's one of the Trei Asar. Thank you. And the Trei Asar is not the Shvatim. The Trei Asar is 12 Neviim at the end of, right, parrots, and it's yeah.
And you guys are such trouble with that one.
It wasn't me, but it was somebody. It was a different sibling. But anyway, so parrots can say over the Maisa after the daf. But so it's one of the Trei Asar. So then you'd have Mordechai, who's the main character, if that's the right lashon, in Megillah, which is one sefer, and he's also in Neviim, if you hold that Malachi is Mordechai. But either way, the Gemara slugs that up. Basically, so when I ask the Kasha, Baruch ben Neriah, Visaria ben Maseh, Daniel, Mordechai Bilshon, that was his name. B'chagi Zachari Malachi, Kulon Nisnavu b'shnas Shtayim l'Daryavish. They all said Nevius in the 2nd year of the Daryavish's kingdom. So you see clearly that Malachi and Mordechai Bilshon are two different people. They're not the same person. So to Yufta, the Gemara slugs up and says there can't be that Malachi was Mordechai. Now we have an additional Machlokes. Yeah.
Is that to the exclusion of giving Nevuah at a separate time? When the Gemara says that they gave Nevuah the 2nd year of Dayavish, Mordechai already wasn't Mordechai part of the people that wrote the Megillah?
Yes.
Would that be considered giving Nevuah when he wrote the Megillah, or he was giving it over B'Shem Esther?
I don't know what it would be.
Saying, so he already gave Nevuah before. Is the Gemara coming to exclusion of any time before then?
No, so does it mean that it's a one-time Nevius?
I'm asking.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it would be multiple times. That's what I thought. But I don't know.
Zachariah had more than one Nevuah.
I thought most of them had more than one Nevuah. No?
Yeah, but Zachariah is brought down in the Sefer more than one Nevuah.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. We got to wait. Ask Shmuley. We got to wait. Shmuley, maybe Shmuley knows. So fine. So Tanya, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Karcha, Malachi zu Ezra. Malachi is Ezra. Chachamim are Malachi Shmoi, and some in the Chachamim say Malachi was Malachi. It didn't have to be somebody else. So Rav Nachman Mustavra Commandam Malachi zu Ezra. It's Mustavra that Malachi is Ezra. It's Nivius Malachi because it says by the Nivius Malachi, right? Bogda Yehuda b'Se'eva Nesasa Yisrael.
How does this work exactly? Rav Nachman just finished saying that the Mordechai is Malachi. Now he's saying Mustabra that Malachi is Ezra.
Well, he was slugged up.
Yeah,
Oh.
Usually it's the Gemara that slugs him up.
Right. So
Doesn't mean
also,
he
first of all, you see the Girsa, it's Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. That little gimel changes it to Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. So I guess that's coming to answer your kasha, right? But I never understood really. Tiyufta means what? The Tiyufta was asked later, or
Tiyufta just means a strong kasha. Usually when it's a shlag up, it says Tiyufta Rav Nachman Tiyufta.
Tiyufta, right? Anachanami. Yeah. Either way, so I'm Rav Nachman.
One more question.
Yeah.
Sorry. If
Yeah.
Mordechai is not Malachi, does that mean he's also not the second to Achashverosh?
No, I thought for sure everybody admitted he was the second to Achashverosh. That was just
So
a
how does
way
the whole
that-
Purim story happen if he's second in command to Achashverosh?
This all
Does
happened
he-
at the end. The pasuk
Does
says
he get
straight up that he's
ousted?
Mishnah
Does he get
Lamelech.
ousted from Achashverosh and Haman replaces him?
No,
Well,
at the end he was
he became
promoted.
second after
He
the
replaced
after they
Haman.
killed- after
Ah,
they
you're saying
killed
after.
Haman.
Okay,
It's a
fine.
pasuk in
Not before.
Megillah.
Not
Megillah
before,
Esther.
okay.
I thought
Mishnah
it
Lamelech.
was right. He was a Mishnah Lamelech, right?
It's a
Right,
pasuk
he
at
was.
the end after the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
story.
Yeah, but maybe that happened after. I don't know.
Isn't this after
did happen
Achashverosh was
after.
dead because Daryavish was the melech already?
Yeah, but the first Mishnah Lamelech was for Achashverosh, no?
Right.
First Mishnah
First
Lamelech
Lamelech
was
was
Then
Haman
it
to
could be talking about
Achashverosh.
Daryavish.
Then Daryavish, he was saying Nevius by Daryavish. They were saying Navi. I mean, whatever, not Navi. Whatever you call. What is it called? They were saying
Prophecy.
Nevuah.
prophecy. There you go. I don't have-
Prophecy.
Right. So how do you say it in
Prophecy.
Lashon Kodesh? How do you say in Lashon Kodesh? Nevius, Navi.
Nevuah.
That's Yeshivish.
Nevuah.
That's Nevuah.
Nevuah.
He was saying Nevuah. Yeshivish, it's Nevius. No, proper Hebrew, it's Nevuah. He was saying Nevuah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
have that. We have that with Shmuel in the morning. He says, "I'm speaking Hebrew. I don't know what you guys are speaking."
He's right. He's right. Fine. So Amar Rav Nachman, the stubborn b'mayda Amar Malachi zu Ezra. It makes sense that Malachi is Ezra. The Siv Nevius. Okay. Sorry. There you go. Say it says by
This
Nevius
is the
Malachi.
Sefer. This is the Sefer, Nevios.
What?
Nevios is the generalization. You can't say saying Nevios. You say Nevuah.
Okay.
Nevius
Either way.
is
That's
in
not
the-
how
the
Arsko
idea.
translates it. Arsko says it's the prophecy of Malachi. They do not
Right.
translate it as a sefer. They translate it as the prophecy.
Yes, the prophecy is a generalization, not what he said in Nevios. He said Nevuah.
Okay. I don't know. Anyways, let's see. So Bagda
That's not what Arsko
Yehuda.
says.
All right, so let's see about it. Yeah, so Bagda Yehuda v'se'eva nesesa b'Yisrael of Yerushalayim, right? Without the Yud, but we had that Taisus in kindness that really the Yud is not supposed to be in Yerushalayim. Ki chilal Yehuda kodesh Hashem asher oiv ubal baskel necher. So basically, that the Yidden were not behaving themselves, and that they went and they married goyim. So Malachi was giving nevius or nevuah about the Yidden who were intermarrying. Uman afrish nashim nachrius, right? And who stopped the women? Who stopped these marriages? Ezra. Tirsiv vayan shchani ben Yechiel ben bnei Ela vayomer leEzra anachnu ma'alnu belekenu v'noishav nashim nachrius. And he stopped, and they stopped them from marrying, and Ezra stopped them from marrying Goyish women. So it must be if Malachi said the macha against them, and Ezra's the one that stopped it, so it must be it's one and the same person. I can't say I follow why it has to be the same person. Why couldn't it be Malachi who said that the Yidden stopped marrying Goyim, and then Ezra was the what do you call it? The henchman who went and carried it out, right? For some reason, the Gemara seems to say, since Ezra said that he stopped it, must be he's the one that complained about it in the first place. Okay, I don't know.
Didn't we have a
Anyways,
Gemara? Didn't we have a Gemara 2 days ago that none of the niviim actually stopped Klal Yisrael? Were nation of them b'tshuva?
Yes, we said that nobody ever listened to Naviim. The Mesiras HaTabas stopped it
Here we
more
do.
than the Naviim. What?
And now we have one. Ezra, with his nevuah, stopped him from marrying us from the priest.
Well, I don't see. I don't know if he stopped it with the Navu. It sounds like he I don't know if it's physically. Anachnu ma'alnu belikenu, right? They told Ezra, I guess so, you're right. Yeah. They're telling Ezra, we stopped. You know, okay, I don't know. I hear. But I guess they did listen. Maybe it means a whole Klal Yisrael. Yeah. Fine. So Tana Rabbanan, Arba Nashim Yafifiyas Hayu Ba'olam. There were 4 of the most beautiful women in the world. Sarah, Abigail, Rachel, Esther. So some switch it so that it should be in the proper historical order. Right? But we read that it was Sarah, Abigail, Rachel, and Esther. So the ones that say that yes, Esther was green, so then she couldn't possibly be from the most beautiful woman in the history. So then Mapik Esther Umayel Vashti, you take out Esther and you put Vashti there. Yeah. Okay, now the Gemara goes through all these, the beauty of all of them. Taravan Rachav Bishma, right? Rachav Bishma Zinsa. Just saying the name Rachav, and we had this in what was it, Tainus, right? Right, just saying the name Rachav could cause somebody to be Mazana. Right? Yal, Bekoila, Yal with her voice, that's caused people to get turned on with her voice. Abigail Beschirtov, Abigail just remembering her, which I don't want to get into the whole thing, but I don't understand what Abigail by remembering her, and other ladies, if you think about them, is not going to be.
Isn't there enough kamina if somebody is with them already in the past?
That's the Gemara's going to say.
That's the Gemara's going to say.
It's going to be, that's about the next case. But this one I don't understand. So I understand Yao turned everybody on with her voice. So she could have been an opera singer, right? For 5,000 pounds, but she sounds good. So that could be a turn on. That I could hear that one, right? I'm sorry to bring it down to the mundane, but I could hear that one, right? But Abigail,
did you say 4,000 or 5,000 pounds?
Whatever, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Right? Abigail Beschirta, just because I have tickets in a month from now, for my kid wants to go to one of the Beethovens in the middle that they have a lady singing. So I bought tickets. I have a whole Claire. Can you go? Can you not go if you don't see them? It's based on the next Gemara. Anyway, so Abigail Beschirta, but Abigail by remembering her or thinking about her. Of course, I mean, what lady you think about is not going to be. Okay, I don't know what that means. Either way, Micha Bashol, Biriyasa. Micha Bashol, by the way she looked. So again, I don't know what that means. Does that mean because the way she dressed or the way she looked? Fine. So anybody who says Rachav, the words Rachav, will have a what do you call it? There'll be a Balkari. So Rav Nachman, I say it, and it doesn't do anything to me, right? So Amrale, first of all, the question is, why was he allowed to do it? Right? If they tell him,
why would you say Rachav? Why would you say it?
I have no idea why you would say it. I don't know. That's A. But along the same lines of your kasha, did he Rabbi Yitzchak know about this? Did Rav Nachman know about this? And he said, I'm going to test this out because it should be usher. Right? Or did he, before he heard about this, he did this? Again, you're right. I don't know what everybody was saying. Rachav. I don't know. So Amrale,
isn't it the Goin? He's supposed to test out the Gemaras. So the Gemara says, hey, there's no similarity between Me'apam and Me'avachapam.
Yeah.
And everyone else trusts the Gemara. I didn't. So Mameli became the.
We're gonna go back to Brachos and get that chicken recipe that they brewed everything up with the eyeballs, this and that.
You're right. Good point. But it's a good point. Okay, so Amrale, he said, Kia came to be Yadam Akira, right? So I said, when I said it, right? He said, I was only saying it if somebody knew her. If you knew what she looked like, then if you say her name, that can cause somebody to become a Balkari, right? Which we already said, based on this, there are poskim that say that Kol Isha, right? Which is 2 words, by the way. Many people think Kol Isha is one long word. Kol Isha, right? The voice of a woman singing is not usher based on this Gemara unless you know what she looks like. If you don't know what she looks like, then we're not worried about being a turn on. There are megilah for that. Right? Fine. Okay. So that's sugi. But Mordechai, then we go weiter now back to the Megillah. Mordechai Yoda is
It's interesting. You have a bas call. You think a bas call will be usher because it's a bas call.
Very good.
What if you do know what she looks like, and there's no way the voice is going to turn you on?
No, that doesn't work. Doesn't say anywhere in Hilchos Yichud. Sorry, that an ugly woman you could have yichud with doesn't say that, right? So sorry, that doesn't.
That's that was Victor Miller's Vart about handshaking. A guy asked him one time on the Thursday night shir, and he said, "You should do what I do. If a lady sticks out your hand, you say, 'I'm sorry, ma'am. I only shake hands with ugly women.'"
Right, very good. Right, so good. I'll tell you a conversation I just had with a guy. Maybe I was wrong, but I know that he's been having it's a guy he became from, so he's having issues with Shmir Seinayim, certain Zachin, and then he asks me that he goes swimming, mixed swimming. His rabbi told him he can go mixed swimming because whatever. He told me he can go mixed swimming, but then he met an old girlfriend of his, and he's allowed to schmooze with her when she's in a bathing suit. I said, I don't think that's such a good idea. So he says to me, no, it does these things. I grew up with this stuff, doesn't turn me on. I said, if you didn't have a Zerah Levatala issue, then I can maybe believe you. But you can't tell me that this doesn't, whatever. You get the gist of it, right? But whatever. So it's not, you can't just say, yeah, oh, these things don't turn, that's it. You know what I mean? I know what she is, and it doesn't work like that. Anyways, fine. Mordechai Yoda is kol asher nasa. Back to the Megillah. So Mordechai knew everything that was done. So my Omar, right? What did he say? And then the pasuk says he cried out to Aka Gedaylo Mora, right? That's what again, for the life of me, I don't know why the Gemaras don't bring the Ikr Psukim that they're darshaning, right? So Rav Omar Gova Haman me Achashverosh. What he cried out was, now Haman made himself bigger than Achashverosh, because Achashverosh wasn't willing to kill out the Yidden, and Haman was. Shmuel Amar Govar Malka Ilai Malka Tato. He's saying that now the lower king, right? Which again, this is Lashon Sagi Nor, Rashi says. He's saying the upper king ruled over the lower king. That's what, meaning upper king is Hashem and the lower king is Achashverosh. So what do you mean? Of course, that's not what happened here. It's the lower king who's making Xer against the Yidden, which is obviously against the upper king. So that's what he's saying in the Lashon Naki, Rashi says. But really what he meant is that he started crying that Hashem is being overpowered Kavayachal by Achashverosh. Fine. Then it says Vatischalchal Hamalka, and she started how do you touch Vatischalchal? It started melting, I guess. Right?
Shaking.
So what do you say?
Shaking.
Shrinking, I guess. It started.
Shaking.
Oh, shaking. That's what I thought. But Rashi really uses a lashon of the insides of her body started melting.
Wilting,
yeah?
the article says.
Wilting. I hear. Okay. I don't know. Ma'avat Tischalcha. What does it mean? Amar Rav Shapir said nida. She became a nida. She needed the bathroom. Either one of these two things happened to somebody when Esther heard about this whole Maisa. So then what happens? Two things can happen to people. Well, men obviously can't get their periods when they get scared, but they need to have to go to the bathroom. Women, there's such a thing in Vestas, in the cycles, there's such a thing as a woman being scared that it could cause her for period to stop or to start. Right? So that could happen. So that's what happened to Esther. Right. Vatikra Esther v'lhasa. So then the Mefarshim, I was listening to a shir today quickly, I don't remember what he said, but he's like, who cares? What does this have to do with anything? That Esther, why do we need to hear about what happened to Esther's body when she got scared? Anybody hear that, Kasha? I don't remember what his teretz was. I think it was Ben Yoyada he said it from, who asked this Kasha. Right? Anyways, okay, so Amar Rab, Hasaf, said Daniel. Right? Hasaf is Daniel. Why was he called Hasaf? They cut him up from his greatness. Right? Meaning he used to be much bigger and then he was demoted. All the words in the Malchus were chatach literally also means to be cut, but it means also the way it can make a decision. So he was one of the big deciders in the kingdom. Ladas mazeh va'al mazeh. Right. So Esther sent. So Hasach was the go-between between her and Mordechai. So she sent Hasach to Mordechai, and she said, "What's going on over here?" So she sent to Mordechai, Shema Abri Yisrael Chamisha Chumshei Torah, which is also an interesting lashon. Maybe Klal Yisrael being over on Chamisha Chumshei Torah. T'chsiv bahen mizeh mizeh hem ksuvim, because it says on this way and this way it's written, right? Meaning it's talking about the luchas, right? So maybe she was referencing maybe the over on the whole Torah. Fine. So vayigilu Mordechai is different, and they told Mordechai Esther's words. It doesn't say Hasach went to tell Mordechai what Esther said. It said somehow he found out. From here we learn that you're not supposed to give bad news. So since Hasach / Daniel had bad news from Esther, because Esther said, I'm not listening to Mordechai, so therefore he didn't want to give that bad news back to Mordechai. I don't understand why they couldn't communicate straight with each other. That part I don't have with the story, right? I mean, Achashverosh and Mordechai and Esther were seeing each other regularly, right? It says 2 days ago, Blat says they were together with each other physically. She went from Achashverosh to Mordechai, right? So here, unless
how
maybe
is that mutter, by the way?
What do you say?
How is that mutter? How do we answer that up? How is that mutter?
Because till then it was ba'inus. We're going to get to that. Till then it was ba'inus. When at that point it was still ba'inus. Anyway, so let's see. So lei knoises kol Yehudim, go bring in all the Yehudim ada shaloi kadas until there's no not like the laws. Das meaning laws. Amar Rav Abba shaloi kadas haya shebechol yom v'yom anachshav ba'inus. Right till now, it was ba'inus. Anytime she was with Achashverosh, it was rape. But now it became baratzon. And when Esther said, the way I was lost already, I'm going to be lost again. Just like I was lost from my father's house because he died before she was born. Now I'm going to lose Mordechai, my husband, too, because now I'm going to go willingly to the king. Right? So that's why they were mutter till then. Right, Michael? Till then, she was ba'inus. Now, the whole kasha of Esther Karka Olam, and because basically the kasha is what do you mean? We know that Arias you have to die for. There's the big three you have to die for. So
right, so she was allowed to do it b'ratzain, maybe it's a mitzvah b'avera.
Right, no, you're not a mitzvah b'avera. Arias is doicha. Arias is doicha pikuach nefesh. Right, so she should not have been able to.
Unless she was like Yael.
What do you mean?
Doing an Aveira the Shema.
Okay, so then that's the whole sugi. So that sugi is interesting. It's not here. That whole sugi is in Sanhedrin, in Taisus in Sanhedrin. So Taisus in Sanhedrin, that's where he says Esther Karka Olam. She didn't do any maisa. A woman doesn't have to do a maisa. It doesn't have to do a maisa bia. A man cannot be ba'inus, because in order for a man to be turned on, that has to be done. That can't be ba'inus. That has to be some sort of rutzon on the man's part. Mashenkein, a woman is karka olam. She just lays there and the man does whatever he wants, right? So that's the basic teretz. But the Tosfos here has a more interesting kasha. Why didn't Mordechai divorce Esther? What was the mitzvah to keep them married? Right? He should have. Why should she? It's a multiple reasons. First of all, it's practical. If he divorced her, he'd be able to stay married to her. That's one. Two, why should she be over on an Isser or a Suffolk Isser? Divorce her.
It was love.
Could be, but if it was real love, then they lost it because they didn't get divorced.
What do you mean divorce so he could stay married to her? What?
What?
What did you say? If he divorced her, he could stay married to her?
Yeah, but once Achashverosh is done with her, he could remarry her.
So once a woman's with another man after divorce, she can't go back to that man.
No, but that's to be married. That's if they're married. But here she's sitting with a guy. That wasn't That's not a marriage. That's not a marriage.
Why don't we mention?
So then why
that
would the
problem
woman
that a
matter?
guy as well? Why is that
What
not
is
part
this,
of this conversation that it was basically like mutter for her to marry a guy?
No, because that we would allow. I mean, you're allowing an Esther anyways for whatever reason, right? She's going to save Klai, or whatever the teretz is that she was allowed to do this, even though it was Arias, is going to work whether she's divorced or not divorced. It only makes it better if he divorces her, right? But anyway, so Taisus answers a very interesting teretz. The second Taisus here, there's only 3 Taisus in, because Get needs Adim, and he's afraid that if they would have gotten 2 Adim, then it will become public that Esther was a Yid, which is fascinating because on that chashash, right? He didn't know that this was going to be part of the whole plan. That right on that chashash, he didn't divorce her, and megilah there were a lot of isur. Now the Navi Yehuda asks, so then divorce her without the Adim, right? At least divorce her without the Adim.
Maybe
right?
he
So
did.
What?
There's no
He
Adim.
didn't.
Maybe he did.
He
How
did.
do you know there's no Adim?
Very good, Naftali. I hear, but that's.
The problem is the kasher avadati. She can't say she's lost to him if he divorced her. She's
Right.
not.
Well, so he's saying maybe they did epis.
But then she's not lost. Then there's no kasher avadati.
Yeah. Anyway, so.
So Yaakov, why if the marriage of a guy doesn't matter, why the begilah still matters?
Yes. The Taisus and Sanhedrin entertains that maybe a guy does not answer her to the Baal because it's not considered zermusam susan zermusam. We look at a guy, we look at it like it's an animal. We look at it like it's if a woman's bizarre with an animal, does she have to get divorced? She does not have to get divorced. So maybe we
he
look
should want to get divorced.
True, but
It's unnecessary because if she gets caught, then she's dead anyway.
Correct, that's true in all these cases, but that, right? But anyway, so Taisus and Sanhedrin already goes through that side and says that's not a tzad, right? But anyways, okay, so that's basically the tumult. There's a lot of raid on this, a lot of raid on this.
But Siago also, the community knew that they were married, right? I love how they just
so that
didn't
we had
come.
that. It was mashma somewhere, either later on this daf or maybe it was another daf. It's mashma that some yidden knew that she was in the palace.
So use those yidden to
That's
to
right.
make
And Hanami. I don't know. It was mashma that some yidden certainly knew that she was in the palace. I don't know.
And then the heter then is because karka ilam. That's the heter here for her to do these.
The heter is karka ilam. Yeah, the heter is karka ilam. Now I don't know if the ilam remembers. Ben Yoda brings it that there is a shita that says that what happened was that it was a shade that looked like Esther. Anytime Achashverosh slept with Esther, it was really a shade. They made a shade that looked like Esther, but it really wasn't Esther. Right? So then the kasha on that becomes, so if that's the case, so then, no, right, why didn't she just send the shade? Right, so I heard that on that shit today too, but I don't remember also, but anyways.
What's the connection with Eicha? In Eicha we say kasher avadati. When we say in the Megillah we say it with the niggin of Eicha.
Yes, we do. Yeah, because it's a sad part.
Oh, there's no connection to Tisha B'av.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's the joke. They say, the reason why you have to have some connection to Tisha B'av so that the Litvish should have some fun at the Megillah. You know what I mean? Right? That's.
It's Stam sad. So you read the negative. There's nothing beyond that.
I think anytime there's like a negative that might have happened, we go into the Eicha negative. Okay, let's go. It's a little late, yeah? Fine. So Mordechai is divrei Esther, and they told Mordechai what Esther said. Did we just do that? I'm sorry. Did I do that? Yeah, I just went back a few lines. Vayava Mordechai, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Vayava Mordechai. It's about 15 lines up in the bottom. Vayava Mordechai passed by, right? Right. So Amarav Shehivri Yom Rishon Shel Pesach V'Tainis. What it means is that he passed over, no pun intended, right? Pesach, in order the Olam should fast, because it was Pesach. Yeah. So V'Shmuel Amar, the Avar Arkuma Demaya, Rabban, this is for you, right? He passed over a body of water, right?
Yeah.
So because it seems like the Yidden lived on the other side of the river from Shushan. The Machashverosh's palace on the other side of the river. The Olam remembers when that we were discussing, I don't know, what was it, a week or two ago, that Tveria is on the water, so maybe it's considered walled. So we were clearing, maybe Rabban was clearing that Shushan is on the water. So he said, I don't know, is Shushan on the water? Well, Shushan was on the water, right? But maybe there was a bridge. So I don't know. Fine. And on the third day, Esther dressed in Malchus. Big day Malchus mibayale. It should have said Big day Malchus. Right? We had this yesterday's daf. Because she was wearing Ruach HaKodesh. Ksiv hacha v'tilbash, ksiv hasam v'ruach lebasar es amoshai. Right? That's a pasuk, have nothing to do with the Megillah. That's in Divrei Yom. Fine. The bracha of a hedyot should never be calling your eyes. Because two gedolei hadar had a bracha from two hedyotis. And the brachas were mekuyim. David and Daniel. David and Daniel both got brachas from people that were less than them, and the brachas came true. David, the barche Arvana, right? Arvana gave him a bracha. It says, "Vayomer Arvana el Hamelech the Chulu v'Gomer," right? And he said, and the bracha there was by Yasa Hashem La'aretz v'Te'atzar Magev. He said that Magev should go away. So, and Daniel, the Barche Daryavesh Tichsiv Elakach the Ant Palach Le'V'Tira Hu Yeshezuna. The Hashem who you're always davening to, he's going to save you, right? And then Daniel was saved from what do you call it? From the lions. So you see that the Birchas Hedyot is don't belittle the Birchas Hedyot. Fine. Don't think that somebody who curses, a small person who curses, shouldn't be bad in your eyes and shouldn't be meaningless. Avimelech cursed Sarah, because after Sarah, when they hid Sarah, when they hid from Avimelech that Sarah was Avram's wife, and he wanted to take her to be with her as a wife, and then he got punished, and then so he was upset. He says, Avimelech told Sarah, it's going to be for you a covered eyes, right? Which means blind. In the Skaima Bazar, and then it happened to Sarah's child, because it says, and it came, and then Yitzchak got old, and his eyes got shvach, even though we know all the stories of why he got shvach. But the bottom line is Avimelech's curse of Sarah, as this is a strange thing, right? She did this. Avraham Avinu asked her to do this. The Gadol Adar, the only whatever, told her to do this. She did it, and now her kid gets punished because of Avimelech's curse on her, even though Avimelech was trying to steal her in the first place, right? I mean, go. I mean, whatever. The lesson to this is like when you tick somebody off in a car and the guy starts cursing, you gotta be scared. That's the bottom line. Don't tick anybody off, because you don't. That's what the Gemara is saying. Fine. Hashem is different than humans. Adam shoyfes kedera. A person puts a pot on the oven or whatever on the fire, and then he puts in water. I don't know if on fire. Just you put down a pot and then you fill it with water. HaKadosh Baruch Hu first puts water, and then he puts the kedera around the water. That he gives tons of water to in the Shemayim, right? So meaning first Hashem puts the water in Shemayim, then he puts the clouds around it. Okay, I'm not exactly sure why that's. I think it's just because it's the same Mount Amar. There's about, I don't even know how many things from the same Mount Amar of Rabbi Lazar in the name of Reb Chanina. So we're just going through different Maimorim that he said. Anybody who says something in the name of somebody else, you can bring geula to the world. Esther, and she said to the king in the name of Mordechai, meaning about Bigson and Seresh. So, and that ultimately led to, at least it was one of the things that led to it. But that's the obvious kasha on this. What do you mean? That was not the main thing. The Bigson and Seresh was a small part of it, but that wasn't the main thing. right? It was not the main thing at all. So that led to the geula.
Types
Right?
the words literally, that's not what it means.
What?
The person who quotes is the one who saves, not that the quotation saves. Kala oimer davar b'shem oimri, the one who says davar b'shem oimri, mevi geula leilam, is the one that brings geula to the world, which is Esther. Esther quoted Mordechai, and she brought the geula, not the words that she said.
Is that the Pashup Shah?
I don't know if that's the Pashup Shah, but that's the literal touch of the words.
I hear that answers the kasha that I just asked. That answers the kasha, because it's just saying you're saying that there's no connection between the story of what happened in the geula, right? Okay, but that's not the way
it's midas ha'emes. It's midas ha'emes.
That seems to be how Art Scroll translates it.
Like who?
Like what
Gershon?
Gershon just said. Yeah.
You serious?
Yeah. Whoever reports, whoever reports saying in the name of somebody who said it brings redemption to the world.
Yeah, Esther said
That's
it.
going
B'Shem
based off the
Mordechai.
person who said it.
Yeah,
Meaning
but what's
person
a
who
shot?
said- meaning the person who the person who brings the news, not the person who.
Because now Achashverosh knew that Mordechai was the one who foiled the plot. No.
That would be the Pashup Shah, but Gershon is saying not like that. Gershon is saying one has nothing to do with the other. Okay, it's a chiddush, but it answers the kasha. Otherwise, really, it was a minor part of the plot, right? If you would take the big son and Serach out of the picture, I think Klai Yisrael still would have been saved. Again, maybe I'm saying a chiddush now, right? It was only that it set in motion when Haman's downfall started, when Achashverosh couldn't sleep, then it started, got the ball rolling, but the ball would have gotten rolling after that. Once she invited Haman to the party,
Maybe not through Mordechai. Maybe not through Mordechai.
Not through Mordechai. It wouldn't have been through Mordechai.
There wouldn't have been a Mordechai because Haman would have had him killed. Haman was about to have him killed when Shnas Hamelech, and then he said to him, "What did we do good for Mordechai?"
I hear. I don't know. It's a kasha. This is a kasha.
And then Mordechai guided Esther as to what to say and what to do. So I agree with this gentleman. If had Mordechai been killed, what would Esther have done?
I'm not a gentleman.
You are. I'm not. You are. I'm not.
Yeah, I hear. Okay, I don't know.
You're both not. I know both of you.
Oh, there you go.
Then I'm in good company.
Fine. Right, so a tzadik, when he dies, he's just died for his own dar, right? But he still exists. It's a mashal for a person who loses pearls. Wherever that pearl is, you lose it. It's your own pearl, right? It gets lost. Let's say it falls in the street, gets covered over by mud. It's still a pearl. The pearl is a pearl wherever it is. Right? The owner doesn't have it. Right? But everybody else, but it still exists. So this is interesting. This is like a playoff of like Yaakov Minu Lai Mace, meaning a tzaddik doesn't die. Meaning even though he himself is not there, but whatever koiches he brings is still there. Fine. Then the Gemara.
This is the answer to daven by kivrei tzadikim.
I guess. Right? But yeah, fine. And this is nothing is worth it to me, right? So that's what Haman said, that all my success is not worth it to me as long as Mordechai is around. When he saw him sitting there, it's not worth it to me. Mordechai came from a strong point, meaning Mordechai came to Haman that he was wealthy. He came from being poor, right? So Rashi starts saying it at least on the bottom of Amud Aleph. He starts saying this basically that Haman had no money and he sold himself to Mordechai many years before. So Mordechai was really in charge of Haman. Yeah. So that's what it kept bothering him, that all his success really belonged to Mordechai. Zamra Papa, and everybody called Haman. He was the one. He was sold for. Now there's different gears here in this Gemara, right? Then Betalmi the Nama. That's the way Rashi has it. That he was somebody who sold himself for a bunch of loaves of bread. Yeah, so meaning he was so desperate for food that he needed bread to eat, and then that's what he sold himself for. All of his genazav, all his hidden his treasures, right, were on his heart. He says, everything that I had on me is just totally not worth it because to see Mordechai. You see this nebuch by a lot of people. You have people that they hold a grudge. They have great lives, Baruch Hashem, they know everything is good, and they got one taina, and they let that one taina just control their life. Right? Yeah, fine. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to have a crown on every head of a tzadik. What is a teferes? A crown for tzvi, right? And a tzviras teferes, also some sort of crown of teferah glory. It's for those that do what Hashem wants, and those that wait for his teferah, for his glory. Yochel lakol, right? Maybe that's for anybody, not just tzadikim. For the rest of his people. That's for people who make themselves like they're leftovers, right? They make themselves leftovers. There's usually tzadikim, so they're humble. They don't make themselves chashuv. Fine, ruach mishpat, and a spirit for judgment. Zeh adonis yitzroi. That's somebody who judges his yetzer hara, and makes it stop, convincing him to do bad things. And he sits in judgment. He dons din emes lamita. And what does it mean for strength? He overpowers his yetzes. These are all basically the same thing. And those that come back from war, they're always they're doing the back and forth of the mechamte shel Torah. That part I think for sure we yotz on this daf. Yeah, right. Shara to the gate. These are the people that come early and they stay late in the shuls. Fine. So Amar Midas Adin Lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Midas Adin says in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why are the Yidden different than the Goyim? Amar La HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yisrael is B'Torah. Who was Olam Lo Yasko B'Torah? The Yidden learn Torah, the Goyim don't. Amar Le Gam Eila B'Yayin Shagul B'Shecher Tov Pakul Pelila. All these people also, this is not such a good pasuk for those that like to drink. Right? They also get drunk with wine and sheikhar, and then they mess up in plila. Plila means judgment. Ein pago ela gehenim, and pago means gehenim. Shenemar v'loisi ezais l'chol lefuka. Vein plila ela dayanin. Shenemar v'nosam b'flilim. Right? That's also the lashon that's used in the Al Chetz on Yom Kippur. Right? So anyway, so they do trip up. Fine. But Tama, so now it said, okay, so then that's yeah. Again, that pasuk, we didn't say exactly where that pasuk's coming from. That pasuk is Abigail, again, like we had last night, talking to David HaMelech and saying whether that he shouldn't not to end up messing up and go to Gehenna with drinking. Fine.
How come she wasn't mentioned, like her thigh? We had everybody else, the voice, to this, to that. Maybe she should have been mentioned.
Yeah, but it was just her thigh. It was just her thigh. It sounds like she wasn't.
Okay, so Kala Ilam, whoever sees her thigh would also.
I don't know, but maybe it was only David.
Oh, maybe it was only David and Melech. Who said anybody saw her?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, good. So Amar Rab Levi, Kivan Shegi LeBeisa. I'm sorry, let's skip through it. But Tamar Chatzer Beisa Melech HaPnimis. So she was standing. Esther stood in the inside of the king's house. Amar Rab Levi, Kivan Shegi LeBeisa Tzlamim. Once she got to the base, we said she had Ruach HaKodesh. When she got into the room with all the getchkas, right, all the tzlamim, the Shechina went away from her. So Amra, she said, here we go, Kayli, Lama Zavtani. right? Why Hashem? Why have you given up? Now we know that the Perek Chof Beis in Tillim is the Perek that goes for that pretty much describes Esther with the whole Purim thing. Perek Chof Beis. And how come it didn't become the minute to say that after davening? I don't know. On Purim Echveisnish, but really, but that's what Keli Lama Zavtani is. Shema Ata Don Al Shoigi Kamezit. Maybe you're going to treat somebody who's a Shoigi, who Esther was, like a Mezit, Balinus Karatzen, and somebody who's being done, be forced, like somebody doing something with Ratzen. Excuse me. Shema Al Shekarasiv Kele, or maybe. Excuse me. I don't maybe because, well, I guess after a while I'm giving out a little bit here, right? Or Shema Al Shekarosiv Kelev, or maybe because I called Chashverosh Kelev, Shenema Hatilu Micherev Nafshi Miyad Kelev Yichidas. Excuse me. Right? It's in the same parak there. It says, save me from the sword of my soul, from a sword, from a kelev. Yeah. So Chazer v'karasei Aryeh. So then she called him a lion. Shenemar Hashienu pi Aryeh. Save me from. Excuse me. Save me from the lion. So okay, this is also interesting. What's going on over here? Achashverosh, she called him a dog, and maybe she's afraid because she called him a dog. That's not covered. So she called him a lion, and then megilah, things got better. Okay, whatever it is, however you can understand pshat in that. And then it continues, and when he saw Esther Amalka, there were 3 malachim there at that time. One lifted up her neck because her neck she was looking down.
Now that goes right back into your pshat. Don't be upset at these drivers when you get angry, because even here, it doesn't sound like she said it to his face, right?
Not. I would think not.
Right. So to hear she's just saying it, she's getting angry, referring to him as a dog, and then she changed it.
You're right, 100%. It's a good point. It's a good point, right? You gotta watch what you say. Yeah. And one was Moshe the Chut Shel Chesed, and one pulled the Sharvet. As everybody knows, the king, in order to be makabel, a person had to stretch out the scepter, but she had to touch it, the kama. And how much was it stretched out? It was really 2 amas long, and it stretched it to 12 amas. And some say it was 16 amas. Is 24. And in the Brachos it says it was actually stretched to 60 amas, which is really long. And this again was last week's parsha. That was with the arm of Bas Paroi. It was 60 amas. And the same thing you find with the teeth of Rishoim. I remember we had this by Oig Melech HaBasham, right? So, and he had that. How did it go again? He put his teeth. Anybody remember this?
His teeth got stuck out of the mountain. His teeth got stuck in the mountain.
Yeah,
he was in the throwing Klal Yisrael.
Right, so his teeth went into the mountain, and then he couldn't move them out of the mountain, whatever it was. So that was 60 amas too. The Siv, Shine Rishon Shibarta. The teeth of Rishon get broken.
That's a famous joke.
Yeah, what's that?
It's late, but
so Rav Aaron, he needs a station identification, so give him a little break.
So the Rav and the president of the shul had tremendous fights. They couldn't stand each other. The president gave the Rav just like super duper hard time. When they came the next day, they came to the Rav and they said, Mr. Greenberg was just died. We have to have a husband. How did he die? He got a heart attack by the dentist. So when the Rav got up for the hesped, he said, Shina Rishon Shibart.
Oh, yeah, okay, I know. Very good. I never heard that one. Okay, fine. I'll take Shibarta. Don't read it Shibarta, you broke it. Ella Sherivavta, right? That you pulled it, right? You made it longer. Fine. Rabbi Baroifan Amar Meshimar Velazis Shamay Rame Rabbi Merabbi. Right? This is quite interesting, right? He says he heard it from his Rebbe, who heard it from his Rebbe, and his Rebbe from his Rebbe. Messiah that it was 200 amas. Now you think that the reason why he's saying it from his Rebbe is because on Amud Aleph he said, say it over b'shem Imrei, it brings the geula. The Chayr, you have Evan Shas where he says it from my Rebbe, from his Rebbe, without saying their names, right? Okay, I was just a horror. Yeah, fine. But here
it's mashma, you don't need to say that.
You just say
each
from
one, just the one, yeah. Each one
yeah.
quoted his Rebbe.
No, but this is like you, Gershon. This is like you, that it's a din in you saying things over, not the shame you. Right, this is a backup to you. We'll write it down in the sefer. Yeah, fine. I'm going to give you up to half the malchus. Chatzi malchus, v'loy kol malchus is only going to give her half and not the whole thing. V'loy davar shechoytzitz malchus, and not anything. Not a. I said it as a question, not a question. It's a statement. Chatzi malchus, v'loy kol malchus, v'loy davar shechoytzitz malchus, and not something that is going to separate the malchus, right? Which is referring to the Beis HaMikdash, right? That because that's in the middle of the world, right? So that he says that's what he meant by that. What do you say?
It's the next word. Binyan Beis HaMikdash.
So I knew Binyan Beis HaMikdash, right? But I'm saying Rashi says that it's the Evan Shasiya, that because that's where the right. I think Rashi says that, right? Evan Shasiya Shemimana Nishta Olam. The whole world it revolves around the Evan Shasiya, which is by the Makam HaMikdash. Yeah, thank you. Fine. So then Yahweh HaMelech Haman Ela Mishteh. So Melech and Haman came to the Mishteh. Tanabara Ma Rasa Esther Shazimna as Haman. What did Esther see that she invited Haman? Why did she invite Haman? Right? She was setting up a trap. Pachim means a trap. She hid a trap for him. Shanemar Yishulchanam Lifneim Lepach. The table should become a trap for them. Rabbi Shua Aimer she learned it from her father's house, right? Now, it's an interesting thing. What does it mean she learned it from her father's house? Rashi says she heard kids saying this, right? Meaning she heard the kids saying over psukim, which is mashma that she didn't know psukim. That's agav, right? So I don't know. She didn't go to seminary, I guess. Right? She
never lived in her father's house.
Right. So that's So right. So that's what it's saying. She heard kids saying things over, right? So in Rav Lechem, if your enemy is hungry, really, if you're the one who hates you is hungry, give it lechem, give it bread, right? And then meaning that will feed him, and then somehow you'll take care of it. The reason why she invited him so that he would not he wouldn't go against the king. Meaning, he would think that, he's very happy, and he wouldn't rebel against the king, and he would still have to listen to the king. Rabbi Yehuda, she invited Haman, so nobody should think that she's Jewish, because why would a Jewish queen invite a guy who's out to kill her whole nation? Right, so that the Yidden won't say that we have somebody in the king's house. The Yasichu Daitam and Arachim, then they're going to have Rahman. They're going to be Masiyah Das from Rachman, which is also an interesting thing. She didn't want the Yidden to think. From here, Akivat's mashma that the Yidden did not know she was a Yid, right? But she didn't want the Yidden to think, we have somebody on the inside that's going to save us, right? Which is exactly what happened, by Yidden when Yidden were involved in the Trump administration, and then everybody's like, okay, we're good to go, right?
Listen, Joe Lieberman lost the election all those years ago, and everybody was disappointed. A few months later, we had 9/11. I think all those Arabs would have smashed in, and everyone, we would have been a lot of tsars.
Right, that's a good point, Taka. That's a good point. If the
Yidden didn't know that she was there in the castle, what's with the fasting the 3 days before that Mordechai said? What was that for?
That came from Mordechai.
Right. Wasn't it because they knew she was going to go? Meaning, he didn't.
No, I don't think that's
he didn't tell anybody. He knew.
Yeah,
he knew.
Yeah, he called it because it happened right after. The Gezer was on Yud Gimel Nisan, and he called the fast the next day. Right, that's Rashi and Amud Aleph says it. On the 13th, it's a Rashi and Amud Aleph. On the 13th was when the Gezer was written down, and then he took it back. Whatever. It was guys are on the Tanaisim. From Rabbi Yossi Yamakadeshi Yamatila B'chol Eis is that he should she wanted him around, so maybe he would mess up. Reb Shimon Menashe Omer, Ulai Yargish HaMakom, maybe the Hashem would feel it v'yasel a and make a nace, right? Because I don't. That's also an interesting one. Yeah, maybe that Hashem sees that one of the Yidden is already going after the Goyim, so he says, "Oh boy, this is getting out of control, so I better stop it." Right? She says, "I'm gonna smile at Haman, be happy with him, and then they'll what do you call it? And then maybe we'll both get killed, meaning he's gonna kill her and Haman because of jealousy, right? A mamish a soap opera. He was a king who was a hafafan. He was a flip. How do you call it in politics? Flip-flopped, right? He flip-flopped. Yeah. So megilah, she never.
Just
knew.
answer that. He's a politician.
There you go. Right. So she said, you never know when he's around. That what craziness could happen. So I might as well keep Haman around. We still need the Maidai. That's Rabbi Eliezer's pshat. Meaning, even though we have a bunch of Tanaim and Amoraim who said pshat why she invited Haman, we still need Rabbi Eliezer's pshat. The Tanaim Rabbi Eliezer Hamidi Omer kanis kinasei b'melech kinata b'sar. She made the king jealous, and she made the officers also jealous. She made everybody jealous by inviting Haman. Achashverosh was like, why is she inviting Haman? And all the other officers are saying, why is Haman? She's pitting everybody against each other, right? Rabba Amar Lefi, right? Before Shever comes destruction. Yeah? Fine. When it's going to be hot, then I'm going to prepare their mishta, the drinking. Fine. Okay, you know what? I'm going to just starting my review, so I'm going to stop here. Tomorrow's daf is also long. Okay, we'll catch it up, but I'm going to stop it here. Yeah. Okay. I hope that's okay.
Parrots missed the song of the daf.
What?
Parrots missed the song of the daf.
No, Kaylee.
Yeah, but he didn't call it out. I'm sorry.
I did, but the problem was
that was a call out. No,
my daughter is sitting next to me and she started singing it. So had I gotten off on the mic, everybody
I started doing the same thing.
Thank God I didn't hear Kalisha.
Parents didn't want no Kalisha. Very good.
That's right, exactly.
Anyways,
no matter how ugly she is, I got
There's another Shalshelis one.
Naftali, Tiago, you can run. I'm going to ask Naftali to see what his answer is from this morning. Naftali,
okay.
if you go to a levaya, right? Do you wash your hands after, even if you're standing in the Kahanim section?
No, I'm not tummy.
Okay.
It's like I'm walking in the street. I never got tummy.
I don't know. We said we were going to ask you. This morning, it seems to be a machlokes, whoever who's on.
I'm saying what I never really see any. I mean, I really only walk when I go to my father's kever, really, because maybe I probably go in the middle of the cemetery. But
stop if you're at a.
But I'm at a levaya and I'm outside. How's it different than me walking in the street? I'm saying.
Or maybe
nobody said you should. He just wanted to know if the
No, I'm talking it out. No, I'm talking it out. I always had this question because I saw people washing, but if I never get tummy, I think that's the whole point, no?
Yeah, no.
I'm sure there are people that wash after they hit the street too.
Right. Well, that's what it would be. Yeah, if you walk in front.
We were saying how close it was.
Yeah.
It's like you wash your hands in middle of the base island is where they have the whole bathroom and everything. You're driving out the exit, and there's trees and there's everything else. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah,
I don't know. Is it because of Tameh that people are washing their hands, or is it symbolic?
Minig for Levias. Probably
So then, according to Gershon, if it's minog, then maybe anybody, whoever goes to Levias, should be washing. But if it's al tzuma, then I don't see the reason.
It's al tzuma.
It's al tzuma, then I'm not tzuma.
It is tzuma.
Yeah.
Good night.
Sure.
All right.
If
you see something else, let me know. I'm always willing to learn something new.
Gershon, a riot to what you were saying is a lot of times when people either quoting the Lubavitcher Rebbe or Rav Kook, they always say, I heard from an Adam Gadol.
Yeah.
They don't mention the name.
That's why there's no geula, you say.
The riot, you know what I mean? You don't have to say who it's from. You just have to say you heard it from somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Have a good night.
There were two more. The first two Taisvus on Amud Aleph. There are also two songs of the Daf. For those who like Shalshelis.
That can't be song in the Daf because it's not Taisvus Yomi. It's Daf Yomi.
No, but it's the Shalshelis one again. Yaf Yafisa is Shalshelis, no?
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. All right.
There you go. All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Yashikayach.